and welcome everyone. My name is Janet. I am working through the King James's Bible. Today we are in the book of Joshua, working through chapters 11, 12 and 13. Now this video is going to be a lot shorter than my usual videos because a lot of these chapters are covering details in terms of names and battles and things like that. So I'm not going to list all of those details. There are links under this video, so if you want to read the details there, you can. But I mean, if you just do a Google search online for these chapters, or if you've got a Bible yourself, then you can read all the details there. Okay, well, we'll start with chapter 11. Now remember, we've had already a lot of battles conquered, kings killed, and we're moving into more of that. So we start with chapter 11, where King Jibbar of Hazar has heard that the Israelites have had all of these victories, and he knows they are heading his way. So he consults with other kings in that area. So the king of Madon, Aship, Shimron, and the northern kings, they all join together to battle with the Israelites. Now God tells Joshua not to worry. It's kind of like, be strong, have faith that you are going to win. You've got me with you. We're going to win this battle. We will be victorious. And he asks him to burn their chariots and cut their horses' legs. So off they go to battle, Joshua and his men, and as always they defeat the enemies that are ahead of them. They have God on their side and they defeat them. They capture King Jibbar, they kill him, and they burn all of his kingdom, Hazar. So that's all burned. He did the same with the other kings and their cities. They were all killed and conquered. And this is done in the exact way that Moses had laid down in his book, that God had given him the details. So Joshua is following this book to its letter. Now only the city of Hazar was actually burned to the ground, and they looted and they gathered all the livestock from the other cities. So they're really building up a bounty in their resources, the Israelites. So they have now seized Negev, Joshan, western foothills, Arabah, the hill country, the mountains of Israel, from Mount Halah to Baal Gad, and they've captured and killed all of their kings. And these battles lasted a long time. I know we're just covering them quite quickly here, but you've got to think this went on for a very long time to conquer all of these kings and all of this land. This wasn't something that was quick. So the only peace treaty they had was made with the Hivites, and that they were from Gibeon. So that was the only people they made peace with. The rest, God hardened their hearts. They were not willing to give up their land. So I've read up on this, God hardening people's hearts. It's usually when they're past that point to come to him. So it's like, okay, this will be your demise then. You've gone so far away from me, I'll harden your heart, and then that will be your ending, basically. And when God hardens somebody's heart, their demise comes and the Israelites win. So going that path is a losing game in the eyes of the Lord. Joshua then has all the Anakites killed in Anabab, Debir, Hebron, and other hill regions around Israel. They are all killed. And the towns and everyone in those towns were absolutely destroyed. And after this battle, there was no more Anakites in the Israel region. The only survivors were in Ashdod, Gath, and Gaza. So Joshua is following Moses' book exactly as he's written it out. He's following it to plan. It's his way of moving forward. He's reading it. As God said earlier on, read it in the day, meditate with it on a night, so he knows it inside out, because this is what is leading these battles, these conquests, as they are going over and taking over this area of Canaan. And this chapter ends with Joshua dividing up the land between the 9 tribes and half of the tribe of Manasseh, because remember, the other tribes, they've already got their inheritance. So that finalizes chapter 11. Chapter 12 now is basically a long list of all of the kings Joshua writes down that he's conquered and killed in Canaan. And they started with the king of Jericho. Remember when he first came over the Jordan River and they landed in Gilgal, they went to Jericho. That was the first king killed, and it goes all the way through all of those kings until the end king of King Tirzah. So there is a total of 31 kings listed in this chapter that were killed and their lands were conquered. So that's a pretty big task. And to end this chapter, I just wanted to give a visual of the areas that have been covered and conquered now by the Israelites. So if you have a look here, if you look there at the bottom, you see the Dead Sea, and above that you will see Gilgal. So we started there, went across to Jericho, conquered that one, those islands there, or should I say those cities in the bottom there, and now we have gone up here to the top. If you see Hazar, we've gone all the way up there, and there's been a lot of conquest around that region at the top. So you can clearly see there is a lot of land now owned by the Israelites. So now we move on to our final chapter, chapter 13. And this chapter begins with God saying how Joshua has aged. He's become old through all these battles because, like we were saying, time has passed on now. But there is still, he's saying, a lot more land that needs to take possession. So there's still more to be taken out. And this includes the border of the Philistines, north up to Lebanon, and the Sidonians. Then in this chapter, Joshua is told that he has to divide up the land now between the 9 tribes and half of Manasseh. The Levites are not to inherit any land because remember they have God as their inheritance, and the other half of Manasseh, the Gadites and the Reubenites, had already been given the land east of Jordan. Remember they saw that great for their livestock to flourish, so they'd been gifted that. They are just joining the Israelites to fight these battles so that the rest of their tribe as a big community can take over their inherited land. So this really closes these 3 chapters today. We've had a lot of conquest, we've had a lot of kings killed, and just more following of the book of laws that Moses has written. The action is now taking place, and we're seeing that Joshua is aging now. He's getting to that stage where, kind of like Moses, where he's coming towards the end of his journey as a leader going into war. So these were just a quick snippet of each of the chapters in the book of Joshua so far, and we'll be continuing with more as the days progress. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye.